Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Original Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. We still doing Bible study. Spies have been sent out. Spies have been sent out, but that's not what God had commanded. God had commanded them. It's time for y'all to go out and possess your land. They about just close to their land. So God said, y'all go out and possess your land. And they have to realize, if God said go out and possess the land, that means God always go ahead of you. So he already searched out the land and he already know what's going on. But then when God gave them a command, they were like, oh, okay, but let us send some spies out. So they was like, don't want to listen to what God said. They wants to try to go send spies out anyway, knowing that God has scoped out the land already. So now they are too close to their land. They towards the hill country of the Ammonites. So now they coming across the Ammonites again. Remember, it's the second time. And that's Esau ancestors. They came to Esau. And again, they are the ancestor of Esau. So they reach the hill country of the Ammonites, which the Lord, our God, is giving them. So God said, go up. Now see, God said, go up. Go up and take possession of it as the Lord said. So they would have been in their land then. But they like their other ancestors. When they were this close, when God told them to go possess their land, they hesitated, said no. So um, the God of their ancestors told them, telling them, don't be afraid and do not be discouraged. So God is telling them to go, take possession of your land, and now, and the ancestor also is telling them, the same thing. Go take possession of your land. Don't be afraid, because they know what they did. They was that close, and they did not want to take possession of it. So God is telling them to go and possess their land, but they said, let's send out some on spies ahead of us, to sort out the land, for us. And then for them to give us a report about the route that we ought to take. But then I realized God already did that. And so the town that we will come to, so now they're about to select. So now they still want to send out spies. So they're about to select 12, 12, and one man from each tribe. One man from each tribe. So now they are left, and they went up into the hill country and came to a valley, and explored the land. So they're doing the same thing the ancestors is doing. So they did went out and exposed the land, and take some of the fruit, of the land. They brought it down and they reported, So they said the land is good, they said the land is good, that the Lord our God is giving us. They wanted to explode the land first, before they attack the Ammonites. But God didn't tell them that. God already searched out the land. God said, you go ahead and possess your land. But they were like, oh, hold up. He said, hold up. Let us send some spies out first. So God told them to go and possess their land, and God said they rebelled. Because still them going possess the land like God told them. It's like, oh, okay, let us, send some spies out first. No, that God already sought the land out already. God always said, I'm going ahead of you. Going ahead of you. So now we're going to, I'm going to talk to you about the rebellions against the law. Now we just talk about how God had told them, go take possession of the land. And they said, no, let's send some spies out first. So God said they was unwilling to go up. You rebel against the command, of the Lord your God. Not only they rebel, but they crumble in their tent. See, it don't matter if you go in your tent. It don't matter if you go in the wilderness, and mumble and cry, God's still here. God said it was in their tent, just mumbling, grumbling, all upset. saying the Lord hate them, and they was taken just like the ancestor. So they start talking the same foolishness just like the ancestor. So God delivered them, from Egypt and destroyed the Ammonites for them. So they was scared. They was scared, saying the people look stronger, the people look taller, than we are in the city. They said the city is large, large with big old wall. They said the wall was so high it would almost touch the sky. You know, so they even said they saw the Ananites there. So they just was afraid. So now we see that this generation with a bad report that they are too big, in a place they are. They say it was large, with tall walls, So that's why when they enter the land, they will have they will have to tear down the wall. So when they get ready to enter the land, that's why they're gonna have to tear down the wall. Because they say the wall is all thick all around it to make sure nobody don't come through. So now we see the generation with a bad report, and they are saying that they are too big for us, saying the wall is tall. They're saying the people is tall, and that's why when they enter the land, they will have to tear down the wall to get in, to possess, to enter, but they are afraid. So the Lord your God, who is going before you, see God can always go before you. You know, you will. Your God, who is going before you, will fight for you. Now, what they're saying here, God always gonna go ahead of us, to fight for us. You as He did for you in Egypt, before your very eyes. God did a whole lot of stuff in front of their eyes. The Israelites, they saw everything. So God carried them multiple times. In spite of this, they did not trust in the Lord, your God, who went ahead of you. So they wanted to send spies out. When God said they should have had confidence, but God said, go possess that land. God meant go possess that land. But they were scared. They was afraid. They're like, well, wait a minute. Let's send some spies out first. So in the Lord, had went ahead of you, and they wondering, they wanted to send spies out. They want to send spies out, but God already had searched out the land. Why send spies out? So they didn't trust in God. They didn't trust in God enough. So God heard what they said, and God was angry. So God was angry. Because they're talking just like the ancestors. So God had, in His anger, He said, no one from this generation, shall see the good land I swore to give your ancestors, except Clarius. He was to see the land. God would give His deceiving the land that He said set their foot on, set their feet on, because he followed the law wholehearted. Now Clarius gonna enter the promised land. Him and Joseph. Because they follow God from their heart. So now they notice, their sin, against the Lord. So now they want to go up and fight, but it's too late. God said, if you go out there, I'm not going with y'all. So God let them know you're gonna be in war by yourself. So now they wants to go up. And it's too late now. They're ready to go up. So He will not be with y'all. God said, I'm not going to be with you. So God said, don't go. So God told them to do not go, to fight, because God will not be with them. You will be defeated by your enemies. So the Israelite must have thought God was playing. That God had told them, I'm not going with you. Y'all will be against me. So they must have just thought God was playing. So God said, if you go on your own and fight the Ammonites, you will be destroyed and defeated because I'm not going with you. So the Israelite, God must have thought they must have thought God was playing. They rebelled. And they wanted to go up and fight, but they really thought God wouldn't step up to the plate. So God said they act in ignorance. To march up into the hill country. The Ammonites who live in the hill country, you know, the Ammonites who live in that desert. Now they met with them once before. So the Ammonites came out against them, and they chased them like a swarm of bees and beat them down from the cedar all the way to her. So after the Israelite had got beat down, after they got beat down, remember God told them not to go, but they're going to go anyway. So they got beat down. God sit right there and watched them get beat down. And then they came and they weep before the Lord. So God told them not to go fight. They go fight anyway. They got beat down and had chiefs to come and wants to woo 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 to God. So God did not pay them no attention at all. God turned his head, to your weeping and turned a deaf ear to them. So God turned a deaf ear to them. God didn't want to hear nothing they say because, see, God had told them not to go. So now we see the third generation did the same thing the ancestors did, So then, now they're also in sin against God. They will not enter the promised land, but their children will. So they pick up the same rebellions, like their ancestors. Instead of them learning the mistake that they made. So we talk about God had commanded them to go ahead on possess the land. But they was in fear. They were scared. And they said, okay, well, let me send some spies out first. But that's not what God commanded. God had commanded them to go and set out. So they were like, wow, we're going to send some spies out. So that means they didn't trust God. They didn't trust God to get it through. And so we had talk about rebellion. After they didn't want to do what God had said do. They wanted to go get spies after God had told them go ahead and enter your land. So they rebel against the Lord. So we had talk about how the spies, said they was tall, so many, on it, but they said the wall was so tall, touched to the sky, but that's why they're gonna have to tear down that wall. They're gonna have to tear down that wall, because that wall gonna be so heavy and it's gonna be so thick, So that's all the short news I have for you on today. The two spies and rebellion against the Lord. When they told them to possess their land, they said, "Oh no, we're gonna send our spies," but it was incorrect. So y'all have a blessed and safe night, and I see y'all on the next video.